crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. Somebody sent me this morning. First ever hybrid ETP bets on gold and Bitcoin as inflation hedge. An ETP is an exchange-traded product. It's a derivative. Pretty much everything's a derivative that's not the actual asset they're playing with. So they're playing with gold and Bitcoin. The person who sent it to me said, "Oh, this is great. You know, the big hedge funds are going to be able to invest in gold and Bitcoin." And I'm like, well, they can invest in gold and Bitcoin now. Just go out and buy it and get it in your own possession. But they won't. That's not the world they play in. They play in a derivative world. But I did want to point out, so I'm checking this out. I'm like, it's not bad. I mean, it's like the iShares Silver ETF. It's not bad, but at the same time, why wouldn't you own your own silver? You know, you have a banking collapse and all that silver is gone and you won't own shit. But, so I checked it out. Company's called, right here, Bold, or 21 shares, Bold, Bytree Bold ETP. Blending gold and Bitcoin. I'm like, okay. They actually have Bitcoin and they have gold. And I'm like, I wonder where their gold is. So I click on bar list and look what I see. It's held by JP Morgan. Are you freaking kidding me? JP Morgan holds everybody's gold, everybody's silver. Them and their henchmen, Virtu Financial, Vinny Viola over at Virtu Financial, are the ones rigging the markets and have control of the whole game. Now, mind you, I did see that Virtu Financial came out with their financials. And 2021, they had dropped from making 2.2 billion, or almost 2.3 billion in 2000 to 1.9 billion in 2001. That's how much you make from rigging the markets. And then first quarter this year, they had a drop of 32% in their earnings. Very interesting. Maybe the bad guys aren't as bulletproof as they think they are. I mean, one quarter doesn't mean much, but I think it's a sign. I'm taking it as a sign. But yeah, having JP Morgan hold the gold means that gold is being rehypothecated over and over and over again. It's also part of the gold in the GLD trust. It's also part of gold swaps. This gold is not part of 21 shares. Do not invest in this thing. It's bullshit. I bet you they don't even know where their gold is. So, it says London. Let's look at silver. We know what's going on with silver. The banksters finally got silver under the moving averages, so they're going to hold it down there until all the weak hands are out. So far, all the weak hands are not out. They can push it down as far as they want. They can push it down to minus $40 if they want with a click of a mouse. We've seen it before in oil. It's so easy to do for these criminals. And they don't trade silver. They trade silver derivatives. This is the price on the COMEX. COMEX isn't even a real exchange. It's a futures and options exchange. There is no real exchange for silver. LBMA is not a real exchange. They don't even call themselves a real exchange. They're a price setting mechanism and a fraud mechanism to wash silver trades. So what do? You just keep buying physical. You get it in your own possession. I did an interview with Andy Sheckman. He's got some physical in inventory right now. If you want to get some physical silver, send Andy an email. info@milesfranklin.com, milesfranklin.com. And he can send you the prices of what's he got in inventory and what he can get it to you for. So there you go. Mailed to your front door. It's that easy. How long will this go on? I don't know. I'm hoping it gets down to $21 and I can spend my last pennies on some silver. But the key to this is most likely there's dollars to the downside, maybe down $1 or $2, maybe even if they get really violent, which they usually do, maybe they can get it under $20. But the upside potential is unlimited. Hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in the future. All we got to do is get rid of JP Morgan and Virtu Financial, and that is a reality. And I think JP Morgan's in deep trouble with all this interest rate, all the interest rate issues going on. Nobody knows how much the Fed's going to raise. Remember, JP Morgan has a massive, I think the largest in the world, amount of interest rate derivatives. They have $45 trillion in derivatives and only have $3 trillion in assets. That's a recipe for disaster for the most criminal bank on the planet. JP Morgan Chase, run by the henchman Jamie Dimon, who is Jewish, by the way. Well, his wife is Jewish. Everybody in his family is Jewish. He said he didn't want to convert to Judaism because he couldn't be elected president. He works for him. He is one. I mean, Judaism is a religion. To me, I know a lot of Jewish people, and that's fine. It's the criminals that rig the market that just happen to be part of the Quadrillion. I can't even say it because I'll get kicked off of YouTube. Listen to Cliff High on that stuff. It's a sect within that religion that is the bad, evil one. In the financial world, at least. Anyway, yep, Virtu Financial is not looking that great. They never lose money. They didn't lose money. It just had earnings down 32%. That's a big deal for them. But we'll see what happens. Cryptos, they're holding down as well. Really interesting. I mean, it's so easy to hold crypto down. It's just like it's easy to hold silver down. Real Bitcoin is not traded. Yesterday, people did not sell $743 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's just ridiculous. And Tether is not worth $83 billion. That's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's a fraud. It's a con. Get your crypto into your own possession, and you'll be able to participate in the markets after the crash and after these criminal exchanges go away. That's my take. Really interesting article from Shift Gold. Oops, our bad. IMF director admits, quote, "We printed too much money." They never say they printed too much money, but they are now. Why now? What is different about now? They want this fiat money to go away. The bad guys who print it want it to go away. There's too many problems. They had to create a multi-quadrillion dollar derivative market just to maintain things. So keep an eye on that. The quote is exactly, this is from IMF Director Kristina Georgieva. IMF is a freaking the most criminal of all the banking establishments. I think we are not paying sufficient attention to the law of unintended consequences. We take decisions with an objective in mind and rarely think through what may happen. How could you rarely think through what may happen? You're the director of the IMF. That is not our objective. And then we wrestle with the impact of it. Take any decision that is a massive decision, like the decision that we need to spend more to support the economy. At that time, we did recognize that maybe too much money in circulation and too few goods didn't really quite think through the consequences in a way that would up front would have been better informed had we done so. Are you kidding me? You don't think through the consequences of printing too much money. This is the head of the IMF. Doesn't think through the consequences of printing too much money. That's the only thing you have to think about, you freaking idiot. Anyway, really interesting stuff. I can't talk too much about this because YouTube is banning me when I talk about certain. Not banning me, they are blocking off all monetization and shadow banning, basically. The birdie missed revenues, admits overstating millions of views. It's a fraud. Now they're trying to cover up, and they're trying to destroy the company because Musk is taking over. They're trying to destroy the company before he gets there officially. But he can still adjust price. This is literally all the fraud is coming out now. Also this one, is the birdie burning evidence by unshackling conservative accounts. All these accounts are getting extra viewers now that the shackles are off, and they change the algorithms not to shadow ban people. It is, I mean, this is exposing, I would say, the entire management team of the birdie company. Now, directors of a company are legally liable for fraud. And there's a lot of directors in that. You know, everybody thinks, oh, yeah, it's great to be a corporate director. You get more money. And it's like, you're liable. If your company does something evil, you're going to pay the price. And if they have any money, they'll pay for your lawyer. But if they don't, they won't. Anyway, that's what I got. I am talking to Jenny Moonstone today. We got so much to talk about, especially the special Bank of America, JP Morgan, Silver Lease, the third party. We're going to dive into who that third party is. I want to find out the name of that third party. I'm going to get Jenny to divulge it through the tarot readings. It's really fun. And I mean, she discovered the third party. Might as well have her tell us who it is. I'm going to give her a list of like 5 different entities that I think it might be and see if it's one of those. And we got a lot of other really interesting stuff to talk about. So come check out the Jenny Moonstone post on the private road. It's in the private road of Road to Ruta. And yeah, it's going to be good stuff. A lot of silver stuff. And go back to the archives. There's so much stuff there that I can't talk about on Twitter. I mean, you name it, everything. Is it the end of the world? Oh, great stuff. Some really interesting discussions. Blind readings, exposing things we can't talk about on YouTube. When's YouTube going to get bought out? That's what I want to know. Elon, set your sights on YouTube, which is Google. Let's buy out Google. Who could buy out Google? The Fed can. They can just print money and buy them out. Maybe the United States should do that. Buy out Google. Anyway, go check out the subscribe today if you're interested in joining the private road. Yes, we are giving away starting next week. They're all starting to ship next week. Silver Ruta Lives coin. It is the coolest coin ever made. Double strike with luster. Red hand painted heart, and each is individually numbered with a case and a certificate of authenticity. Really cool stuff. That's for every new private road member or someone who wants to renew. So go check that out. This is Bix. I'll talk to you later.
Well, I grew up in the USA. I was taught that speech was free. Birmingham to Burning Man, you can speak any truth you see. Lately things have changed, they say I can't speak truth no more. And I'm just sitting here wondering who they are working for. See, they're gonna kick me off of YouTube. Unless I say 9/11's just another day. And they delete my friends on Facebook. Unless I pretend that socialism's A-okay. And they are gonna shadow ban my Twitter. Unless I tweet the chemtrails of Perrier. Finally they'll ban everything I've got to say as they kill free speech in the USA. They decide what's right, they decide what's wrong, they ban what won't conform. They sit in shadows, they run the gallows, say I must abide the norm. Without free speech we lose freedom, they cut off our free will. If I find truth that they don't like, they'll label me a shill. And then they're gonna kick me off of YouTube. Unless I say 9/11's just another day. And they delete my friends on Facebook. Unless I pretend that socialism's A-okay. And they are gonna shadow ban my Twitter. unless I tweet the chemtrails of Perrier. Finally they'll ban everything I've got to say as they kill free speech in the USA. They're trying to kill free speech in the USA. Now wait a minute, it's not like me to give up on a fight. I'll expose their evil plans, bring their shadows into light. And I'll name names, I'll play their games, I've got them in my sight. They're trying to change the USA, I'll fight for what is right. So they can kick me off for YouTube. 9/11's all about building 7 and it ain't okay. And they can delete all my Facebook, but socialists fail every time in every single way. And they can shadow ban my Twitter, but I'm looking up at chemtrail skies each and every day. See, they have no right to ban anything I have to say, and I'll fight for free speech in the USA. I'm gonna fight for free speech in the USA. It's my right, free speech in the USA.